Hey everyone, how's it going? Forrest here, again with another installment of my complete analysis of all of J.S. Bach's chorale harmonizations. Today we're looking at Ach Gott, wie manches Herz, which translates to, Ah God, how many a heartache. It's pretty straightforward chorale. We pretty much stay in the key of A major and E major throughout. Not too many harmonic tricks and turns. There is one particular chord progression or one series of one chordal transition that I'll talk about when I get there, but all in all, it's a pretty straightforward analysis, and we should just get right into it. So our first cadence is a half cadence in the key of E major, but the piece starts in the key of A major. So we're looking for some type of modulation point to occur in the middle of the phrase, because D sharp gets introduced here and it'll probably happen in and around the D sharp, maybe a little bit before. But we start off on an A major triad. That's just a one chord, right, because we're in the key of A major. Some passing tones in the inner voices. We then have A, C sharp, E, and A. That's just another tonic triad in root position. Some passing tones in the lower voices this time. And then we have C sharp, E, A, and A, which is another tonic triad, but this time it's in first inversion. Then we have D, A, D, and F sharp. That is a D major triad in root position, which is a 4 chord. We have some passing tones here. E, A, D, and G sharp does not spell anything, so we're just going to move on to the next beat. We have F sharp, A, C, and A. That is a root position F sharp minor triad. 4 going to 6 is kind of an interesting progression, but I think this is where we modulate. We'll say that 6 in the key of A major is 2 in the key of E major. And then we have some passing tones in the lower voices again. We have E, G sharp, C, and A, which is kind of like a passing 4-7 chord in the key of E, but I don't really think that contributes too much to the analysis, as we already have a 2 chord here. Here we have D sharp, F, B, and B with a passing 7th in the melody. That is B major over D sharp, which is 5-6. Notice how we have 2 going to 5-6. That's a pretty common chordal progression, or cadential progression. We then have E, G sharp, E, and G sharp, which is an incomplete E major triad, but still we have enough to discern that it's a tonic triad. We're just missing a B. And then we cadence on B major in root position. B, B, D sharp, and F, which is a 5 chord in the key of E major. Moving to the end of the first system, we end the second phrase with a perfect authentic cadence in the key of E major again, so no modulation. We're still analyzing in the key of E. So here we have B, B, D sharp, and F again with a passing 7th on the bass, so this is still a 5 chord. No need to reanalyze. We then have G sharp, B, E, and G sharp. That is an E major triad in first inversion, which is our tonic triad, so 1-6. Neighbor tone in the bass before we get G sharp, D sharp, F sharp, and A. I reckon this G sharp is actually our accented non-chord tone, and we're looking for this F sharp here. So D sharp, F sharp, and A is a D sharp diminished triad, which is our leading tone chord in the key of E major, so this would just be 7-6. We then have E, G sharp, F, and B. This is another interesting harmony. So we have kind of this line here, E, F sharp, D sharp, E, and we're highlighting this E right here, but we don't get the E in its entirety until beat 4, so we kind of get a 1 going on here, but we have this suspension in the bass that doesn't get, the suspension over the bass that doesn't get fully resolved until beat 4, so it's a 9-8 delayed suspension. So this 1 chord with the suspension, with the F over the E in the bass, turns into F sharp, A, D sharp, and B, which is B7 over F sharp, which would be 5-4-3, just a 5 chord or 5-7 chord in second inversion. And then we have G sharp, B, E, and E. There's our tonic triad in first inversion, fully spelled. Then we have some passing tones in the lower voices or in the bass, a neighbor tone in the tenor, and the passing tone in the melody. And here we kind of get the idea of, we have A, C sharp, A, and F sharp. This idea of a passing F sharp minor chord, which is 2-6. And because we're getting ready for a cadence, I reckon we'll get a 5 chord immediately afterwards. So we have B, B, E, and G sharp. So instead of going to 5, we go to the 5 in the bass, but it goes to an E major triad in second inversion, which is 1-6-4. Then we get some non-chord tones going on here. We get F sharp and we get A, which gives us an incomplete B7 chord. But the B chord gets fully realized on beat 2 anyways. B, B, D sharp, and F, which is where we expect 1-6-4 to go. And I use this bracket because that's what they do in the textbooks. And then we have E, G sharp, B, and E, which is our tonic triad, E major in root position. Okay, looking ahead, we have a half cadence in the key of A major. This sounds like a half cadence to me. So even though we have 2 cadences that end on E major, this one sounds like a half cadence to me, and this one sounds like a perfect authentic cadence. Even though we have chromaticism throughout, this still sounds like we're in the key of A major. So we'll go ahead and call this E major triad on beat 4 our modulation chord, or our pivot chord, and we'll just call it 5, as E is the dominant in the key of A anyways. And then we go to A, E, A, and C sharp. That's exactly where we expect 5 to go, our tonic triad, which is 1. Some passing tones in the lower voices. And then we get F sharp, B, C, and C sharp and C sharp. But I reckon this, let's see actually, what is our non-chord tone here? This is not a B, this is a G sharp, apologies. So we have F sharp, G sharp, C sharp, and C sharp. So I think this F sharp is our suspension in the bass, and we actually have E sharp, G sharp, C sharp, and C sharp. So this would be C sharp major over E sharp, which is 5-6 of 6, as C sharp is the dominant of F sharp, and F sharp is our submediant in the key of A major. So we would expect that to go to F sharp, which it does. F sharp, C sharp, F sharp, and A. There's our 6th chord. And then we have 4 non-chord tones, which red light goes off in my head. There's probably a passing chord going on here. We have E natural, D, G sharp, and B. That is a root position E7 chord, which is 5-7. And then we have D, G sharp, C sharp, and C sharp. And I think, again, similar to the first 2 beats, we have a little bit of parallelism here between how the harmony is being organized. So we have 2 non-chord tones in the center of the 4 8th note phrase, and this is actually our chord tone. We have C sharp, G sharp, A sharp, and C sharp, C sharp, E, A sharp, and C sharp, which is an A sharp diminished triad over C sharp, which is 7-6 of 2. Because A sharp is the leading tone to B, and B is our supertonic in the key of A major, and we would expect that to go to B minor, which it does. We have B, F sharp, B, and D. So there's our 2 chord, but very similar to a progression we looked at recently. I can't tell you the exact chorale. We have this G sharp here. Now, if we weren't tonicizing this chord, I would be tempted to call this 2 chord actually a 7-6 chord, because usually I look at this when we're connecting the notes together. I usually look at a chord connecting a previous chord and the tonic via a 7-6 chord rather than a 2 chord, and it looks like a 2 chord because the 6 is on the strong beat and the tonic is on the following strong beat, but the 7 is really what I hear. It's like a passing 7 chord that happens, but I analyze it so that the 7 chord happens on the strong beat, and that this F sharp is actually a non-chord tone. But what makes it interesting is the fact that we're tonicizing the 2 chord beforehand, so it makes sense that it's going to 2. But the fact that we're connecting two chords with a tonic on the other end via 7/6 is how I usually analyze it, and you'll see that in many of my videos if you've been following along or if you choose to go through the playlist. We then have C sharp, A, E, and C sharp, which is a tonic triad, A major and first inversion. We then have some passing tones, and I guess technically this is a D major 7 chord, right? D, F sharp, A, and C sharp. So we can go ahead and mark that there. Might as well, because we cadence on 5 anyways, and 4 wants to go to 5, so E, E, G sharp, and B is our root position 5 chord. Alright, moving into the last phrase, we have a perfect authentic cadence in the key of A major, so no more modulation going on. We have F sharp, C sharp, F sharp, and A. That is F sharp minor in root position, so 6. Then we have G sharp, B, E, and B. That's an E major triad over G sharp, 5/6, passing 7th of the alto. And then we have A, E, C sharp, and C sharp. That's our tonic A major in root position. And then we have some passing tones in the inner voices. So we have D sharp, F sharp, A, and C, which is a D sharp diminished 7th chord over A, which is 7, 4, 3 of 5, as D sharp is the leading tone to E, and E is our dominant. And that should go to an E chord, which it does, E, G sharp, E, and B, with a passing 7th in the alto. That's our 5 chord root position. We then have F sharp, A, C sharp, and A. And depending on how you look at this, you can call this 6, but you might also hear this as 1-6-4, depending on what the non-chord tone is. Because we've had a lot of 5 to 6 so far, I'm inclined to call this 5-6, but because we're getting close to, I'm inclined to call this 6, but you could hear this as 1-6-4 because we're getting ready for a cadence as well. We have D sharp, B, F sharp, and A, with a passing tone in the tenor. That's B7 over D sharp, which is 5-6-5 of 5, as B is the dominant of E, which is our dominant. We've seen this before. We've definitely seen it before. 5 of 5. Have we not seen 5 of 5? Am I crazy? I guess I'm crazy. We've seen 7 of 5, but not 5 of 5. Okay, maybe I'm crazy then. But then we have E, D, E, and G sharp. That is an incomplete E7 chord where you're missing a B, but that doesn't change the fact that it's still a 5-7 chord before we cadence on A major, A, C sharp, E, and a complete triad. So all in all, this was a pretty straightforward analysis. I think this moment right here is probably my favorite, where we get the implied 1 chord with the 9/8 suspension that doesn't get resolved until the chord is inverted in the bass, and we get this interrupting 5-4-3 chord, so 1, 5-4-3, 1-6. I think that's a very beautiful moment in the chorale. Also, this chain of secondary dominance that uses the accented non-chord tone on the and of the weak beat is a very beautiful moment as well. All in all, very straightforward chorale to analyze. I hope you enjoyed the analysis. Thank you so much for watching the video, and thank you for continuing to support the channel. I look forward to tomorrow's analysis, and I hope you take care.